happening with the Sydney heat?
We're coming in hot. Doom, 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 doom.
Literally.
Doom, doom, doom. Thank you.
No, but it's felt like out of nowhere this heat's
Yeah,
coming up, right?
it's intensified.
Yeah.
What's going to wig me out is that we're going to then drop down 10 degrees in like
On,
a few days.
Thursday, yeah.
Like what?
People are going to get sick
Again.
because of the extreme heat and then the cold again.
I mean, we nearly stopped recording off the back of this heat. I think these cameras are going to wig out soon.
It's nearly summer.
Oh,
Just
fully,
the taste
fully.
of summer.
What do we got? What do we got? What do we got this week?
All right. Well, speaking of summer, let's get in with some new tech, especially the new Apple iPhone 15.
Ooh, the new... You've got an Apple, right?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know... what generation are you?
12.
12?
I think it's
You bought yours during COVID,
12.
right?
Yeah.
Do you feel the need to upgrade every year? You're definitely not that person,
Definitely
right?
not.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I'm a practical lady.
Yeah.
It's got a, like, before the 12, do you know what I had?
6?
Exactly. The 6,
Hey!
the 6S, technically.
Jeez Louise. Okay, so you're definitely
Which
not...
was cutting edge technology at the time, I
You're
believe.
definitely not that target market there. But
No, because it's like because what incremental improvements, unless you will see the enhancements, unless you're a fanboy girl person, there's not that much incremental improvement.
yeah.
Like your phone's your phone.
Exactly. I would say with each new announced iPhone, there's just getting less and less fanfare.
I think so too. Although I'm telling you what, based on the YouTube vids for the screenings of new Apple products, that's not going on. Like that's not going down at all. So
And maybe the new colors, right?
okay,
That's all I care about.
The Apple-
Apparently, I saw Laura DIY saying, why can't we get the cute colors for like the high level,
the high level iPhones.
the high level
Since
model.
when are colors such a big deal? Doesn't everyone put a case on their damn phone? Like you can modify your, like I don't understand why a stock color is a big deal. Anyway, I personally don't. iPhone 15.
Personalization,
iPhone
bro.
15, all right, there are a whole host of features, but it's actually headlined by the change to USB-C.
Yes.
Wow, cutting edge tech. I think not. I have a bloody Android Samsung that's worth 1/5 of your iPhone that had USB-C 7 years ago. Maybe I'm making that up. But all is to say that this is not cutting edge tech. And they're parading it like it's a big deal or they've done something really big.
R.I.P. Cash Cow. That's what I'm thinking it is.
They're a bit late to the party on the whole.
Well, they're very late to the
USB-C.
party. But the thing is, you know the reason that they have to do... They've been forced by the European Union.
They
Yes.
went, wah.
Well, by 2024...
We don't like it.
Yeah, the European Union said
An
that...
Italian hand.
They're not,
But is that also a bit trying to be French? I don't know.
yeah. So basically, no, if you don't have USB-C for charging before the end of 2024, you can't import into Europe. So they got forced. Meaning that if they, if they didn't comply...
Because it'd be Samsung, right? Otherwise,
Well,
that's a
all
major...
USB-C is the major port. I mean, look, that Pro is a USB-C. Like, it's a universal thing, right? All Samsungs have it. The Apple laptops have it. So now they're going around parading like they've done something amazingly big. By, wow, you can use your same, charger for your MacBook Pro for your Apple. Bravo.
Win for the marketing
Clap.
team.
Jeez Louise.
You got to know your value proposition,
They're
guys.
earning their money. I'll give them that. Titanium finish. Titanium. Who likes titanium? For the really
Sia does.
Pro Max. Oh my god, that's terrible. Well, titanium is lighter, so that's it. The new pastel colors. But you're right. I mean, every year you get a bump in megapixel. But time and time
cameras.
again, the iterations are getting less and less, right?
Yes.
Like, do you feel compelled to upgrade now?
No.
Not really, right?
Unless my phone skits it in planned obsolescence. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. I mean, same here. Like,
Yeah.
I have an iPhone 11. I got that 4 years ago, and like that, it's still valuable to me because like it's still working well.
Still works, right?
And like that was the first phone I ever bought with my own money, like straight out
And you don't want to part with the case, right? Because it's a pretty boss case.
from Japan.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I'm still not compelled really to think about upgrading to the next one.
You know what I've always found interesting? Android versus iPhone, right? So have you guys... So I've always been an Android.
Apple,
Yeah?
technically,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Is
okay.
it? Yeah.
Whatever. Apple versus Android, right? So I've always been an Android. And the reason why is I buy my phones outright. And I just can't... Can I afford it? Of course I can afford it. Come on, guys. But I just can't justify paying that much for a phone. Even though, if you think about it, your phone is like your most used tool, right? Like if you divide it like how many hours there, you easily outuse your phone versus anything. But mathematically, I can't compute that personally. But the other thing as well is I've always had this picture in my mind that Apple products, they're beautiful. The interface is great. I mean, I swear by these Macs, and I was a PC guy for the longest of time until I actually, so my thing is I'm actually scared to get an Apple because I know that I won't go back. But to that side, were you all,
Pride.
well, it's true. That's just me telling you.
Clutching of just you will not
For-
get me.
For iPhone, were you always an iPhone or did you guys have Androids before that?
No, man, Nokia.
Yeah, Nokias don't count. Because Nokias are Androids now, right?
What did I have? So it was the Nokia. Then I had a BlackBerry because I got it a hand-me-down from father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, it's not a BlackBerry. Sorry, it was the Nokia version of the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
I felt so boss then.
Man, how good was Snake?
And then
Yes.
I feel like I'm missing a gap somewhere because I feel
Did you have that Apple iPhone 6 and then just...
no, I definitely
You had something before
I
that,
definitely
right?
had something before that. But hold on, I'm gonna throw it way back.
Yeah.
Way back before Nokia. You know, Philips used to do.
Yeah.
It was a cute little
Hey,
green.
did any of you
tacky
have the
mouse.
razors?
No,
No.
but I wanted it.
had the razor.
I wanted it so bad.
You know what I wanted so bad? The BlackBerry. Oh yeah, those when they had those QWERTY keyboards there, it was so boss. But then you go back and you think about the evolutions of phones and how it was a status symbol to begin with. You remember polyphonic ringtones when you had to like SMS? You remember Crazy Frog? Tell me you guys remember Crazy
Of
Frog.
course.
Oh yeah.
When you had to get the code on your Nokias to get a ringtone, and how everyone was searching for free codes and websites and how it's kind of evolved there.
Nah, man, what I did is you get the recording on your phone and you set that as your ringtone.
You record the song and then you're just standing by the speaker
Yeah.
and then
Smart.
play it.
So smart.
I think
Nokia 6110?
Something
the
like that.
6. I mean, to me, it was the
The
3.
white one.
It was a 3 series, right? And then you went to the. I can't even remember where the numbers went off. But yeah,
8250? I'll just start rambling off
you
some
just
numbers.
going.
and then
You can't get more than 99. Anyway, back to iPhone versus Android. I think it's an interesting point now where all these phones are so technologically capable of doing the same thing. Either you like the interface because some people just hate the way an Android like interface looks,
Or how
you-
laggy it gets
or
sometimes.
it does get laggy. I'm gonna give it to it, but like the latest Androids, like the latest Galaxies, there's so many. Like I'm just out of the phone world. OnePlus, the hell, like all these. There's these new phones as well out there as well that have Android. It's definitely more customizable. To me, they're built a bit better than iPhones. That's another reason I never got iPhones because I would always drop my phone, and I heard horror stories about how like precious the screens are for iPhones. But anyway, I think that you're right. Even within the Android community, I think there's this inflection point where people still consume. If you look at the major YouTubers, like the tech reviewers, their numbers are still massive in terms of people looking at phone reviews. But I think the phone purchasing rate or upgrade rate is definitely a little bit slower. Because why? Like if everything you have, how much more megapixel can you possibly squeeze out? Like some of the phones that we have are just as good as like the cameras that we have at the moment. So it almost doesn't make sense.
You know what I will say though, and this is chucking a curveball. Google's marketing,
Google
Yeah.
or Apple.
Google,
For
is
their phones.
is convincing me that I really want that magic eraser.
Well, the software is the new ground, right?
Yeah,
Who
100%.
cares? What is this magic island? Dude, it's a bloody notch, man. Like Apple.
No, not the.
No, but
like,
what I mean is the
understand, yeah.
differentiation points now are the software. Are the software points, and they're showing it more and more versus the hardware. Because if you get, you can only have certain apps, right? Apple apps on Apple, and Apple apps rather were like the benchmark,
mouthful.
the benchmark of like aesthetics and utility and all that sort of stuff. But you have open source developers that are doing that on Android. But I have a theory for a lot of, because obviously if you think of market share, Apple's still by far and away the biggest, right?
But not.
Not by
Like-
much,
not like they
but they're
used to
still
be,
the market
right?
leader,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
My theory is the operating system itch. I think it's a very real thing. And we can use your dad as an example. He had Apple for a long time, right?
Yes.
And then he had this itch to change to it. And I'm telling you, you have this itch because you're saying technically there would be a third-party app that would do the work of the magic eraser on your iPhone, technically. But they're getting to a point where aesthetically the colors, the price point, etc., they definitely give more hardware specs on an Android that people are Android curious, or basically moving away from that. Especially like, what would the next iteration of an iPhone have to do so different that you'd be like, I have to buy it? I don't know. Clean your clothes, use it as an iron. Like, what do you think? Like, think blue sky, because if it goes down the route of upgrading megapixel, you're going from 120 megahertz refresh rate, because that's the geeky stuff, to 200. You don't even, who knows? I'm blind. I can't even see in front of me. Like, what does a refresh screen matter? But you know what I mean? Like that increment. So what is it going to have to do different for you to say, I need it? Be a compass? No. I mean, you can get that as an app.
At this point, it just really depends on when my iPhone personally is just going to start kicking the bucket.
Yeah.
And it's.
But at that point, will you be Android curious?
No, I don't.
Why not though?
I don't think I'm not there yet, because
still loyal in a sense.
it's loyal. Like the interface, it's like
Of what you're used to.
What I'm used to. There could be something there, to be honest, when it comes to like the generational change and just wanting to like change things.
No, you want to
100%.
Well, to me, it's not the generational more as it's like hashtag like technology curious, right?
Yeah.
But for example, have you heard of the Nothing phone? So it's an Android phone. It's a new phone, right? It's really interesting. Like, check it out. Check it out on YouTube. But just think of it as a different type of Android phone. It's an Android phone, open source. It's called the Nothing phone, and it's interesting that the CEO is very young, and he goes out on social media a lot, right? So he has his own YouTube channel for the Nothing phone. They're like a boutique manufacturer.
I'm waiting for the bloody like the.
There is no punchline. The fact of the matter is, he did a reaction on the Apple phone, and so as a CEO, so he's very progressive the way he's marketing.
Yeah.
He is the marketer, right? It's racking up a lot of views, and he does reaction videos of tech reviewers reviewing his phone. And what he made a mention and an observation is Americans specifically are obsessed over their iPhone. They're brand loyal to like a fault, where they can't think of any other phone in their purview.
Well, that's where Apple's from, the US, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But like he's making a cultural point where there's almost, it's Apple or nothing, and you won't even question it. Which is why if you see the market dominance,
next level patriotism.
Yeah,
there.
it is true, right? But when you go to China, South Korea, Apple is not big there, right? Because of that element too. But I think there are other different countries there. But look, it's interesting. But the other thing that ticks me off is Apple is definitely going for like the premium price point. They always have put themselves there, and I think a new pricing strategy would be very much welcome for Apple, in my mind.
But how?
I don't know. I don't know.
And I just don't see how. I mean, like they have been pushing the whole trading in component where it does work.
They do well for students, right?
Yeah, it does work. But I just don't see that like happening when you've amassed that much brand equity and pushing that threshold. Like maybe it will be interesting to see the uptake on certain models, certain the add-ons as well, because they're pumping that out too, right? RIP lightning cable. But yeah.
Let's run with a lightning cable. Remember when we spoke about Qantas, we talked about brands that at certain points they're just too big to fail, right? So even if they're theoretically not growing at the levels that they are because the overall phone market is maybe shrinking in terms of people buying new phones or trading in new phones. I mean, just recently I heard that Apple recorded a massive drop in iPad sales. Shock horror. Who's buying an iPad? Like,
who's buying an iPad?
Like that's just a redundant product.
When you got your phablet like rocking it for real now.
There's cannibalization within the product sets, right? So that's a whole other story. But like, to me, a thing of Apple that I just don't like is just their capitalism of it. And if
I thought you would love that.
No. But like, as a consumer, I don't. If I was working for them, maybe I would. But they would not have adjusted to USB-C if the European Union didn't put their foot down. They wouldn't have. So they make it very difficult to buy extra add-ons and stuff like that for consumers. And they're also for such a premium expensive product, the add-ons that they give stock initially are very poor. Like people are reporting that the initial charging band that they give is a very slow one. Like you think you're spending close to $2,000 in Australia for a titanium iPad. The least you could do is give a decent charging cable, right?
Gotta
So they're
love
very
that.
stingy on it.
It's the cult, baby.
And people are
People will live and die by it, right? Where they're just Apple for life.
Exactly.
It's
they've cultivated that following just over the years, and
Apple
it's
is a
concrete.
cult.
It is a cult.
Apple's a definition of a cult.
Yes,
But you know what?
people.
People gonna cult. People gonna Apple. People gonna Apple.
What I do, well, like, just very quickly, what I miss is the
cult?
Apple campaigns.
They still do it though.
But it's not as like it's now focusing on what, like cybersecurity and like
think AI.
and health, and it's just.
What, they have the Harry Styles thing, then you like it. Like you're talking about that.
But
like
that's not what they're pumping 24/7. Like, remember when they were doing "Gonna jerk it out" with the color background?
did they really
with
say
the-
jerk it out?
Back to
The
the
song.
iPod
song.
days.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, what a
but
time.
they had a product. They had a product. Anyway, what's next?
We'll see how that goes when the Apple iPhone goes live on September 22. Apparently,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
It's gonna sell. It's still gonna sell. Like the diehards are gonna.
You were just saying,
Diehards are
I
gonna
remember
Apple.
when your phone conks it. Do you know how many times my phone has just
Conked it.
absolutely conked it because I've maxed out the
Storage.
capacity on storage?
Apple storage is so expensive. To upgrade like
Yeah,
from
I pay $5 a
128.
month.
Anyway,
Better be paying that on you.
Anyway, moving on. We're going to be taking it back to the WGA strike, where especially Drew Barrymore has landed in hot water over the past week.
What has she done?
It's like America's darling, I feel.
Says who?
Mate, she's
When has she made anything relevant?
no, but like E.T.
E.T. Charlie's
And
Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
50
Since-
first dates.
Never been kissed.
Since I mean, of recent.
But
Drew Barrymore show. Is that what it's
Yes.
called?
Crickets,
talk
guys.
show.
Crickets.
Yeah, or the
Anyway, go on.
talk.
Yep.
okay, so as we know, the WGA and SAG strike is still going on. And over the past week, it was announced that Drew Barrymore was going to bring back her talk show, which met a lot of reaction, at least to say.
Because it was slated as a news show, right?
Yes.
That's the technicality.
Yes.
Because I believe that, your morning shows and whatnot, they still need the writers and like the researchers because it's news. So they're exempt from the strike. Whereas for this show,
talk shows, like late night shows.
Yeah. Aren't they the same thing?
I've been
They
the
still
same
need
thing.
writers?
They do, technically.
Yeah.
but it's entertainment. It's different. I think.
But they still need writers, right?
of course, they
because-
need
Yeah.
writers. Yeah.
because it's more of a interview show
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. So this became a very complex issue due to the fact that the way that she framed proposing to bring back the show was that she said that it would still be in compliance with a lot of the WGA guidelines, that they were going to be supporting the writers, that the writers would be picketing outside of where they film. However, it still wasn't satisfactory to a lot of the audience because a lot of people, especially some certain celebrities, were calling Drew Barrymore a scab, which is a term that was introduced for the strike for someone who crosses the picket line in terms of trying to get personal gain for themselves to start working on something that is under the WGA or the SAG. So, yeah, there was just a lot of vitriol online that was aimed towards her, to the point that 2 days ago, she posted a tearful apology video on her Instagram.
Yeah, she did.
Where she expressed that, of course, she supports the strike and whatnot, but she still wanted to stand by her decision to bring back the show. And a lot of people quoted saying that there was a lot of crocodile tears because she just wanted to still prove that, yes, she is the sweetheart and she still cares for everyone. And the funny thing is that 5 hours after that video was posted, she deleted it.
Wait, so just so that I'm following, because she wants to get her show back and it has writers there, they're saying that she's not supporting the strike?
Yes.
Basically.
That she's in the wrong, technically.
Basically.
Well,
And the vibe that I
Sorry,
guess,
who's saying that? and people in
People.
Twitter.
Yeah, the people.
There's people in the
So
industry.
they'd rather that these writers don't get any money. Like I don't get it.
Well,
don't get any work.
That's what the strike is for. That they get better pay.
Better pay
But
for
she
all
is-
writers.
But she is crossing the picket line by continuing to work,
Yeah.
even though her show is under the WGA.
Yeah.
And well, she has said that she's with good intentions because she wanted to get the other people in production who aren't writers back to work, but yet people are still saying that it's still crossing the line, the picket line, for trying to bring it back, which makes this all very complex.
What do we think? I think it's much to do about nothing, but I'm not too close to it.
It's
I get it, but I mean, like if the writers in her show can say that I don't want to do it, right? I want to stay in solidarity, correct? Technically.
Yeah, but as the leader of the production, you should be working in solidarity with, and you should be supporting your employees. That's like exact same thing of like
employees, but isn't she supporting her employees by giving them a show to work in?
But if it's like kind of like an ultimatum, right? It's like either you work and you get money, or you won't get any at all. In the sense of like they're actually fighting for more.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Which is interesting because one of the reactions from certain celebrities who commented on Drew Barrymore's video, Deborah Messing from Will and Grace, she posted a comment that essentially like mentioned that she had the power to halt production. She could have paid her own employees since she's worth over billions of dollars from all her movies and productions.
Paid employees what, like a fair wage?
Yes.
To cover during the strike as well, right? But the fair pay 100%. Yeah.
Which some of the late night hosts are also doing, and which recently
are they though?
Quinta Brunson created a fund with some of the producers to fund the writers while their show is not able to film.
I think it's to your questioning point. It's about just the principles of letting your actions speak as opposed to just following the bare basics of whatever, the bare minimum, which is what I guess the writers are fighting for, in the sense that we don't want this minimum kind of wage. Sorry, I'm simplifying it to that term, but it's like in the gist of that, versus the threat of technology that's impending on their creative IP and their livelihood.
Yes.
It's this thing of it. The reaction I would think that people would have to Drew Barrymore going about this is like, well, like,
so what? Like,
no, it's in the sense it's just like, well, what's the point? Because it's you're still getting your way just because
you have a higher power.
Just because you have a high power. So it's like, if you're not helping the everyday people, the everyday people are being writers. Sorry.
Which has brought it to today that she announced on Instagram. She put up a post after deleting that video.
It's the backtracking for me.
Her statement is, I have listened to everyone and I'm making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt, and of course to our incredible team who works on the show and has made it what it is today. We really tried to find our way forward, and I truly hope for a resolution for the entire industry very soon.
She don't want the hate. She don't want the hate.
You gotta admit though, she's done a much better apology than her counterpart.
Who?
Jimmy Fallon.
She was alright, man. He did it by Zoom. He did the best he could.
No, it's just the choice of words. And what's interesting to me as well is the fact that she did have that visceral reaction or crocodile tears, whatever you call it, then decides to delete it.
Yes.
Because it's just,
why do people delete? Like, I just feel like
maybe she felt too cute.
Too cute. What does that even mean?
Too cute.
I'm just wondering why.
Might delete later.
Why did? Yeah, no, that happens. It happens.
But you go. Sorry.
Like it's
crocodile tears.
Like it is interesting that the backlash came forward, and so she's had to backpedal quite a lot. You can say she's given into pressure, but at least you can give her the benefit of the doubt that at least she has. You would hope she has learned of what was the issue with it, and the fact that she has at least made the right decision to pause work. Because what was interesting is that during some of the initial tapings, because the show was meant to premiere today on the 18th, people noted that audience members who had WGA supportive accessories like pins or badges, they had them removed by security. Which
that's a choice.
Yes, which
that's a choice.
So which you hope, which obviously incurred a lot of the wrath of the audience to be like, that's very suspicious. Where
it's
do you
the
actually
motives.
stand?
It's the underlying motives of what are you doing this for? Are you trying to jump in an opportunistic move to get the lion's share and be the new queen of daytime, etc., etc.
Yes.
Or are you actually working within the best interests of people? And it's again that piece that you were saying. It's when you're projecting these niceties and the image of it, but
do you follow through with it?
Even
behind the scenes?
I gotta say, the real winner of this whole situation, though, is the word scab.
Terrible word. Ew.
Haven't heard that in ages.
Yes.
Such a bad visual.
Bro, you're such a scab.
Such a bad visual.
Yes. Which is why I guess the writers intended to use that word, because it's a very powerful word.
This whole writers thing is icky, man. I just don't see it. I don't know.
Here we go.
It's just icky. I think my thing is out of sight, out of mind. Like if you keep you're gonna get machines to be able to write these things very soon.
Okay, so in the same way that you'll lose your job
acceptable.
eventually to some AI that will sell stuff better than you can.
You won't be able to.
Unbelievable.
Because I'm not gonna be out of sight, out of mind.
The
That's just my idea.
audacity of this man.
That is unacceptable.
The audacity.
That is unacceptable.
Sometimes.
Especially saying it to someone in the room who wishes to eventually enter that industry.
Look, you made her mad, man. You made her mad. You think that you're doing this for clout, and you think you're doing this for
Gotta push
things.
the envelope.
You are offending your own staff, bro.
You know
behind
what?
the scenes.
You know what?
We'll
create a Zoom and have a conversation, because I clearly can't have that conversation face to face.
But
what a scab.
literally, that's the word of the day, guys. Scab.
I hate that word.
But
In the middle of the night, Kat, I'll get her. I'll get him. And he'll be like,
scab. Whisper in the dead. But anyway, that's just another occurrence during the strike, which has officially gone longer than the 2007-2008 strike. This is still verging on to 120 days, I believe, now, since it started. So we can just only hope that there'll be more negotiations happening between the WGA and the AMPTP.
come to your senses, guys.
We need our TV shows. We need our
TV
movies.
shows.
Just
do.
please,
We need our films.
Please
Or you can
give-
just watch podcasts, while you're waiting.
Please give
Not
the
at this
writers.
rate. If you lose all your talent, scab.
Show us you're up. You're up.
She's the replacement. But
She's more likable than you. And then the channel takes off and
Oh, Chance.
there we go.
Chauncey Media.
But yes, so there
Let's
we
see that.
so there we go. At least her show won't be going forward, and for a moment, some other shows were considering to go forward as well, like Jennifer Hudson with her own talk show, but she has also decided to not carry forth as well.
Nuh-uh, girl. I'm
Do
not
that.
doing that.
So, yep, that's being on the strike front. So let's move on to sport, shall we?
I've been waiting for this.
Here we go.
Speaking of early morning, the early morning in Australia, when we watched in Paris, France, wherever you were watching in the world, Fiji pulled off an upset to beat Australia 22-15. We've got to give them a clap. This is huge news. But
I'd usually be a bit more supportive, but you've just slided me from the scab.
After the
marks,
scab,
that's all right. I don't need support. I can carry this one on my own. I think
That's how he loves it. Because he's a scab.
this is such an amazing win for Fiji. But I'm actually choking up hearing you talking about this, because when I look at the comments, and it's actually blowing up across the board in this game. So it's in Paris, France, right? It might as well have been like a Fiji game, because all the Parisians, for some reason, they love Fiji. It's an adopted second team, because a lot of the Fijian players actually play in France. So Australia were outnumbered there. So the scene was set. And to be honest, the way Fiji played against Wales, which they barely lost there, they should have won there, and the way Australia was playing, this is the weakest Australian side I've seen in a long time. Like, I know none of the names. They're all very young blokes, right? But when you see like the outpouring of like support in the YouTube comments and just how much views this is actually racking, and when you see the comments, they're actually not of Fijians. They're of people all around just celebrating like an underdog actually beating a
People
company.
who don't like Australia.
No, I actually don't think it's like liking Australia because, and I'll say that, there was so much support for them when they nearly lost against Wales and they were saying that the referee was corrupt. So this is not to do with the opposition.
Yeah.
This is an underdog story. This is what people gravitate towards. And that's the amazing thing about sport. But pairing it back to Fiji, because I'm actually Fijian, this takes me back to a 7-year-old, an old Kev, right? A young boy with his dad. An old Kev, a young Kev. I'm choking up genuinely because this reminded me of back at the time when we were watching TV. My dad and I told you this story.
Yeah.
We were yelling at the TV, "Go Fiji!" So they were showing a video of like them, yeah, the mic level. They were showing a video of them going to the markets, just talking, right? And there's this old dude, no teeth, no joke. I'm not joking, right? As humble, salt of the earth. All he said is, "I'm happy for them. Go Fiji, go. Go Fiji, go." And that's all they can say to represent their happiness. But you can tell that they're so happy. They were interviewing this lady making cream buns. God bless you. That's the most important job in the world. Making cream buns.
They're pretty good.
They're really, Fijian cream buns are pretty good.
Yeah.
But this takes me back a young kid watching 7-a-side rugby, which we've always been good in, and thinking that the only thing that this country would be recognized at the international level was rugby. And Fiji has its own problems. Fiji has its own divisions. But regardless of the Indians there, the Fijians there, the Chinese there, yes, there's Chinese everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay. Regardless of that, they all came together to watch their team there. And what we saw was the culmination of that. And the irony of this victory is it's historic, right? This is 69 years since they've ever beaten Australia, or not tier one, because they beat Wales and they barely lost against South Africa ages ago, right? But the irony of this is they did so playing a brand of rugby that was so un-Fiji-like. What do I mean by that? They moved away from the flamboyant rugby to beat Australia at the European game, which is set plays, scrums, discipline, which Fijian rugby is not equals discipline. It's flamboyance, it's running, it's athletes. They often say that a Fijian team is a bunch of really talented individuals, but not as a team.
Yeah.
And this team won so ugly. I can say this because I'm Fijian. That's one of the worst games I've ever watched that team play. And they still won it. They won it playing in like a very non-Fijian like game. And I think that was just as impressive because they were trying to lose that game at the back end. It was frustrating to watch, but I can only imagine if you're watching in Fiji, you're beating your damn tin drums, you're jigging off school if you're a kid, because that's what I can tell you. That's what they're doing. You're taking.
Would it be a national holiday?
Well, you can't have a national. Guys, you've just beaten Australia. Relax, man. Like we could actually go to the quarters or something decent. Okay, so let's just take a little chill pill. It's not like that there, but it's such a big thing there. But again, when you look at the outpouring of like support, it's not Fijians. It's not only Fijians. So the Samoa, obviously every Pacific Islander will just adopt them as their thing, right? Because Fiji equals Samoa.
They win, we win.
But that is true. That is representation. That is actually seat at the board. And sports is such an amazing narrative to be able to do so. But the great thing about the Fijians is every time they would lose, not that they lose all the time, but like every time that they'd lose, they would go to their opposition, hug.
Yeah.
They would pray for them.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't get angry at these guys, even though it's like running into concrete walls because what are they eating? Every Fijian player is under the gear. They're under drugs. And their drug is taro. They eat so much of that stuff that they should not be doing it. But they're built like linebackers. They're so big. I'm so happy for them. But guys, this is just the beginning. So like, take your, eat your Big Mac or whatever you're going to do. And get back to training because we got more games to win. So happy for the guys. Right. So happy for the guys.
And he was dedicated right this morning to watch that game.
The thing is, like, so in Fiji time, it started at 3:45 a.m., which is 4 o'clock. I mean, people be getting it there. It was in Paris. The Parisians love the Fijians. Sean?
I thought it was going to say something a bit more profound of like,
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
like
That
the struggle of, you know, waking up. Like it was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing.
It was a whole
We
thing.
planned it.
He gets there, like, we'll watch the movie. We'll start it at 6 and then we'll finish it at 9. So then I can go have a nap and just sleep. And then I'm going to go watch the game and Dad's going to come. And then he woke up too late and then Dad left. And it was a whole situation. And me...
You just fell asleep.
I slept the whole way through, and I'm so happy.
And
I was
then-
so scared that I was not gonna I was gonna have broken sleep.
And then
It
all
was
of you,
amazing.
did you win? Yes.
He nearly got up and did not turn off the alarm, and I'm like, I literally woke up and I was like, alarm, and I went back to sleep.
Chauncey was happy for me. That's all that matters.
Well, yeah, good for Fiji.
Good for
you,
Fiji.
you love to see
Woo!
Love
You
to
love to
see
see
it.
it.
Love to see an underdog story.
especially that. So hopefully they keep trucking
Hopefully they keep
along.
winning. And as for Australia, that's.
We had our time in the sun though. Like,
Yes.
we've had our golden
But do you
years.
remember Australia? Remember the George Creegans, Matt Giddos, Stephen Do you remember John Eales?
yeah.
But you remember
I
like,
was
Sterling Motlock, Phil Waugh. Like what I mean is like there's just no star power. Australia actually like that is the worst I've ever seen them play. The one try that Fiji scored, it was horrendous. It was a fluke. Like they kicked the ball up.
Which is not unusual, right?
No. They score off talent, but like this one,
No, the flamboyance. That's what.
yeah, no. But the Australians, they went up to defuse a bomb. He missed it completely, not by inches, by miles. And then they landed in the Fijian guy's lap, and he just ran. It was the easiest
Do you
try.
think it's based on like it's the limited amount that you've seen them?
Yeah.
Is it purely just experience? Like
So
what's going on?
Eddie Jones is back. You remember Eddie Jones?
wow, yeah.
So strategically, Australian rugby has been
For anyone
in
who
the
will
dol-
enjoy this chat.
Australian rugby has been in the doldrums for a long while, right? People love this chat, by the way. I've seen the views on the damn thing. All right. So Eddie Jones, he recently came back on the helm. Beginning of this year,
Yeah.
right? So there was a World Cup he knew this year.
Yeah.
And he deliberately chose a young team.
Just to start again.
Yeah. So he knew that they were not going to do anything good.
Interesting.
Because, right? What he probably didn't think was they're going to get beaten by Fiji in their second game. So there's degrees of failure that you can accept, right? You get beaten by New Zealand, hey, the hell, they're better than you. You get beaten by the Springboks, the European teams are better. Ireland is the number one team in the world, just letting you know. That's how different the landscape is now.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's a different landscape to when we were watching.
I was
to
like
when,
UK, Australia,
no,
New
no,
Zealand.
No. It's actually it's quite different to what France, Ireland, like all the
England.
European.
Sorry, yeah.
England's not even Fiji beat England coming on the way up. So I'm telling you, there's a reshuffling of the deck that we're going to see.
Yeah.
But the short of it is, Australian rugby has been poor for a while now. Eddie Jones took that gamble, knowing that 2027 the Rugby World Cup is actually in Australia, Brisbane. You better believe we're going to go and watch some games. Well, you can not, but like. Zanos, you're going to be there. But anyway, so Eddie Jones did it, noting that he had to blood young players for the next. So he's playing a very long game. But again, I don't think he anticipated losing his second game to Fiji because they're now, if they don't beat Wales, which they're not slated to win, they're completely out. So it'll be Fiji and Wales moving on to the next one, provided Fiji can beat Georgia, which should beat Georgia. And these minnow nations, they make up the numbers, right? We should be able to beat them. But anyway, yeah, Australian Rugby Union is pretty bad because you know why? All the good players in the league. That's why they wanted to get Payne Haas. To me, it's always been the case. Do you remember back in the day when they were trying to get Andrew Johns and Jonathan Thurston
to
over?
come over.
Because they said if they got one of these guys there,
then
it would be game over. Because
they had Izzy, right? Izzy Folau.
Folau, exactly. So they pay these wingers, and they got the Joseph Suwale, like $7 million for a winger. A winger is a finishing product. You can pluck some guy from Fiji to score the same amount of tries for $7 million. Less than a quarter, infinitely less than that. So Australian Rugby Union is a bit. Rugby union is actually like a rich man's sport. You know, they have those rugby schools, those preppy guys,
and that's
yeah. So it's
that's all I care about.
Anyway,
it's the lifting.
You know what? We've filmed our sport. What is it?
I'm gonna superimpose.
Well, like in the shot, I know.
All right, what do we got? We've had our sport quota for the day.
I needed my fun there.
Well, good luck to Fiji.
That's it.
They keep on trucking. Alrighty. All right, we're gonna bring it back to entertainment once more.
My boys.
And then, well, as you know, on our channel, we love to support Indian celebrities, as it seems. And for us, we're going.
Wait, who was the other Indian celebrity we supported?
Oh, what?
What do you mean? Vivek 21.
He's not a celebrity yet. Hey, we need to have a Vivek. We need to have a writers meeting after this. We haven't had a Vivek
We've
chat.
missed an episode on Vivek
We
Watch.
missed 2 episodes of Vivek Watch. Anyway, yep.
All right. Well, we're going to be heading towards one of the most famous American Indian comedians, Hasan Minhaj. Recently, he did an interview with New Yorker, and it's come to light that he admits to making up certain stories for some of his stand-up acts.
Not surprised.
Yeah. What's the problem here?
Okay.
It depends on what I'm sure you're going to get into it.
Yes.
It depends on what story, because I'll say this as a casual fan, the storytelling that he does and the production like that supports that is
You'd want it to be real, eh? For his style.
Yeah, you want it to be real, but also I think it's definitely there's definitely representation that plays a factor in it, because you're just like, yeah, like
Yes,
saying
you relate.
saying real stories that we relate to, and that are dynamics of family and culture and whatever it is, right? So I want to believe that it's true. I'm not surprised that some components have been
embellished. That's
yeah.
showbiz.
It's show business,
What did he
baby.
say exactly?
Okay.
Just that? Like, did he give any more elaboration on it?
Okay. So there are 2 particular stories that he admits have been fabricated in some way. So, for example, in his recent stand-up special, which was pretty amazing.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It's the anthrax powder story
Do you
about
remember that?
that reportedly fell on his daughter.
Yeah.
So the truth is that his daughter was never hospitalized or never had powder fall onto her.
Yeah.
But the element of truth to it was once Minhaj was separately mailed once an envelope of white powder.
Yeah.
And he said to his wife, "Oh shit, what if this was anthrax?"
Yeah.
So that was one of the stories that he at least admitted to
Yeah, embellishing, yep.
being embellished. And the other story is the Brother Eric story about the man who infiltrated his father's mosque.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he was like a really buff guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
So, and then that led to the whole story about the apparent story that Minhaj was pushed onto the hood of a police car.
Yeah.
And being
What, that was fake
retarded.
too?
So apparently, yes, that part was fabricated, and it was based on his youth of playing pickup basketball.
Yeah.
And he used to be playing with other Muslim kids and middle-aged guys who Minhaj and his friends thought would be officers. And there was one time one of the middle-aged guys like pushed him down during one of the games.
So look,
Fake news, like,
It's-
big deal.
like there's based on.
Yes.
That's what I think that is,
Yes.
right? It's a based on a story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's if I'm listening to that and I'm thinking that there's punchlines, right? But
Yes.
there's the intention behind what that's actually trying to say.
Yes.
So I imagine he's trying to do, like, he's making a point, because in these particular instances, right, it's like there's the daughter, so the family component. It's like, oh my God, what would you do for your child, right? And then the one about being thrown on the car is that touches like a cultural, societal nerve, right? Where it's
Yes.
just the
with racial profiling.
yes,
and all.
yes. So
To me, how is stand-up comedy any different to any other medium where you are making elements up and fabricating a little bit up?
Yes.
It, like, I will say, the good thing you said the examples, right? Because I do remember the totality of the story.
Yeah.
And I like the first one almost just as much because it told...
yeah, no, that was great.
Homecoming King, right?
Yes.
So his way of storytelling, the reason I remember Homecoming King, because it's about his wife, right? Right? Like,
And family.
And family. But what I mean is, it's that real element that I remember. I don't remember the punchline specifically in it, right?
details.
Yeah.
So the 2 parts that he embellished were punchline bits of it. They were not the major narrative.
Yeah.
They were on the way. If if one of the elements that he embellished was that like his wife as like a whole concept, like he doesn't have, oh, he's getting, you know what I mean? Like a big component of it.
Like trying to make a baby story. If that's fake, then
then you'd be the thing. But like the other thing is, if you're a stand-up comedian that all you do is maybe like Joe Coy or whatever, like the Philippine guy, where his style is real just punchline after punchline, right? It's not a very narrative arc. There is, but it's not just to that level, right?
His family,
culture. Yeah.
Then you can make stuff up left, right, and center. Why would you care? Because you're there for that little injection.
Yeah, it's the different. It's the different
styles,
standards.
Right?
It's the different standards being held, because I think it's just the way that it's performed. It feels like a genuine like conversation, right? Because then you're going into the realms of, if we bring it back home locally, like who's the great storytellers in comedy? Like I'd put Will Anderson up there. I'd put Hannah Gadsby, which is actually like Hannah Gadsby is based on real traumatic stories, right?
Yes.
And trying to make light of that situation. Like people just want it to be, thank you, Chance. People just want everything to be real, because I think they just feel
so unrealistic,
that invested into the story.
Because that is stand-up in a nutshell. I mean, sure, like the crucial element, of course, is like the humor, getting laughs, but the basis of it is storytelling. Is storytelling, being able to spin a yarn to capture your audience's attention for the hour that you usually have them, which is what Minhaj, he has commented and like defended in terms of how he does his comedy. So he said, "Every story in my style is built around a seed of truth. My comedy is 70% emotional truth. This happened, and then 30% hyperbole, exaggeration, and fiction. The punchline is
like
worth the fictionalized premise.
Really.
I use the tools of stand-up comedy, hyperbole, changing names and locations, and compressing timelines to tell entertaining stories.
Yeah.
That's inherent to the art form. You wouldn't go to a haunted house and say, why are these people lying to me? The point is the ride. Stand-up is the same."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing is, say you went to a stand-up comedian show, and if he or she gave a disclaimer that 30% of my content is made up, would you even bat an eyelid? No, you wouldn't. You actually wouldn't. So why is it it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? You actually wouldn't. Okay, cool. I kind of knew that.
It's more
or maybe
so
I did.
I just want to laugh.
Yeah, like you've gone in there to be entertained.
But again, I guess it depends. What are they fabricating on?
But the other thing is, does it though?
Do you think, Kat, because we went and saw John Mulaney earlier this year. Can
Yes.
you believe that was only this year? And
Yes.
And that show is famously all real, because
All real.
because of when he went to rehab.
Because when he went to rehab and he was on drugs, but he's like, you literally can't. I remember I was watching an interview and he said something on the lines of, you can't make this up. Like, why would I lie about it? You can't make it up. Do you think there must be some underlying tone there where it's, it does feel there's like a bit of like, you know, it's not even misinformation or like fake news, right? But it's this thing of people wanting everything to be true, or like receiving it in the first instance, not fact checking things. Again, to your point as well. Again, comedy, stand-up comedy is an art form. There is creative license. There is storytelling. There is knowing your audience and knowing what's going to actually elicit the response that you want, which is usually laughter, sympathy, whatever, right?
Information, yeah.
Because they're deliberately curating to deliver a particular story to their audience. So of course there's going to be some creative liberties.
It's like some weird kind of, again, parasocial nature where people just think that, oh, celebrities are just the way that they are and how they project themselves. So it's like, why would they be any different? It's like, come on, guys. Like, there's so many celebrities that we've even talked about now, where they're projecting this image, yet it's not. They're performers. Yeah, they're performing.
If you went to a stand-up comedy show,
and
the comedian, he or she, started off, started off with a premise that 100% of what I'm going to deliver is fictional and made up, would you not laugh if it was funny? 100%. I'm going to really extreme. If it was funny, though, you would laugh. you'd laugh.
Yeah,
a joke is a joke,
no,
right?
no. What I'm getting caught up here is this premise of them saying that it's fake, because then that in itself is a choice, right?
Yeah.
Because then it
What
it
their
could
set must
yeah,
be
yeah,
about.
yeah. What their set must be about. It's all within the constructs of what they
I think
define.
I think it's like you can laugh at like people can be funny, like normal like non-comedians and non-people that don't do it for a living can be funny. Like
Yeah. I mean, look at me,
laughing at nuts.
unbelievable. So rude to me.
Anyway, sorry.
Look, I laughed for you.
Anyway, no. Like,
See,
but
because I pay my ride as well. You know?
we're a startup. I have no
I pay in food, man. What of
food
it?
stamps. Anyway, the point I was getting at, but actually, what makes a comedian different from your average Joe Blow that could go in an open mic and actually make people laugh?
Yeah.
Is the ability to connect, and I do think that connection takes truth. It does take trust, and it takes vulnerability. So that is the difference, because that's the difference between a professional and that. But again, the good comedians make you feel like that all the time, even if it's not like that all the time. Because all artists in all walks of genre, songwriting, movie, anything, any creative endeavor, are faced with this same predicament, which is, you've heard of artists that like almost. I often think that like Taylor Swift deliberately goes up on breakups just to write songs. Like, no, you've heard of stuff like that.
It's good material.
That they're going out of their way to experience different feelings and that to write, which is like, that's like forcing it. I mean, not to say that art isn't created in that thing, but like, that's not a realistic expectation, basically.
And
right?
that's the thing, right? They often say that comedians make really good dramatic actors as well, because they know that balance between
being serious
and joking. Like the amount of times that people will say statements of like, Jim Carrey, he's like really, really funny, but deep down, like he's an amazing dramatic actor because he's gone through some stuff. I mean, Robin Williams, right?
Yes.
All the same thing. I forgot the point that I was going to try and say here at this point of time. Exactly, Chance. Exactly.
She was trying to relay it back to you.
But I think it's this sense of if comedians were to honestly say, like, make light of all of their terrible instances that have happened to them and say the truth, it wouldn't be funny.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes. Which is why they have to curate or add hyperbole, change names to be able to.
Everything is a coincidence, a happenstance, like, can you believe this happened to me? That type of thing, right? It will never be the fact of, hey, you remember that time I got sick? I mean, unless like there's only very few comedians that can actually do that
in terms of the dark humor.
In terms, yeah,
so to speak.
And again, it's all about the delivery, right? It's people can only convey their messages within the parameters that they're given.
Yes.
And what they feel comfortable in doing as well. So
anyway, Hasan, just do you, man. Speak to Ronnie Chang.
Hopefully Daily Show.
Yes. Even after that interview, he has been reported to still be in the top 3 finalists of being considered for the replacement host.
Let's go.
There you go.
Which honestly, let's go. I mean, he did the Patriot.
Yeah, I miss it so much.
It'd be good for it.
It'd be good.
It'd be good for it. So, and yeah, let comedians.
Comedian.
Comedian just got to comediate.
Honestly. All right. Well, we're gonna throw it back to last week's episode when we were talking about celebrity breakups.
So soon.
You guys caused a breakup. What's wrong with you guys? You can't put out that bad juju in the air. Firstly, you didn't research. Your couple had broken up ages ago.
Look, I was rooting for them.
What's going to go happen there? All right. See, my couple is still yet to figure out that they're going to need to be on the rocks. Right? It's going to happen.
He'll put an album about it, and then I don't know, whatever.
Okay, so who's the latest couple?
So it's a couple that was sort of on my caliber kind of
call
guess,
it, claim it, it's yours.
Which is just like they've been together for quite a while, and you think that they're happy through and through.
Yeah,
but it's none other than Hugh Jackman and his wife,
who
split after 27 years of marriage.
That's so sad.
It's quite unfortunate.
It's pretty sad, but
considering how long they got together quite young.
The store 1995.
Mm-hmm.
It was a production that they starred in together.
Yeah, Deborra-Lee Furness.
Yeah. And you
How
know,
old
being
is
together through thick and thin, and you know, all the commentary saying that she's punching and
He's
all
gay?
that, and he's older. Sorry, she's
Younger?
older,
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is 54.
and
So she's
Deborah
60.
is.
67.
It's not that big of a. Oh,
It's decent. It doesn't matter. Like-
13 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't
And so
matter.
they met when he was 27 exactly.
Hey, he knew what he was getting into that
Also-
time. But it's sad. Like you wouldn't. Oh, yeah. You got
Chauncey's
something to
coming
say,
with
Sean?
some hot
Yeah,
take.
you wouldn't. It's just sad. Like there were that post Australian couple.
where it just felt like it was just going to last forever, you know.
I guess it happens. It happens.
And all the insider sources saying the likes of, you know, it's been on writing on the wall for a while post COVID, hasn't been the same. You know, the kids have the last of their kids are now in university now, so they could actually just, you know, separate now. They were just staying together for the kids.
He's still
All
busy
conjecture.
working. He's back to being Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Listen, Hemsworth, it's up to you guys now, man. You need to hold the fort. Chris, come on. You need to hold the
No,
fort.
you know
Chris,
who's
you need to hold.
Australia's
You
golden
need to hold the
couple is 100% now Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban.
Yes. Yeah.
That's them.
Urban's
yes.
US though.
No,
I want-
he's Australian.
Is
you
he?
do know that. Yeah, he's no.
He
technically-
might as well be
technically
US.
he's
He's been a-
Kiwi.
Really?
Technically he's Kiwi and then moved to Australia, I believe.
He might as well be.
I
Yank.
believe.
He might.
Maybe
Yeah, but like.
might need to fact check me on that, Cat. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, but
It says
Nicole was with Tom, right? Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It says he is an Australian and American singer. So both.
So no Kiwi?
I think he is American.
He was born, yes, in New Zealand.
Thank you.
It's typical Australian. Every time any Kiwi gets some
That's the
lick of
way it's
anything,
gonna be.
you just gotta
It's
take
not
it.
even a song.
We don't know any Keith Urban songs.
Oh,
but
what is it? It's
That is not a. What the hell did you
No,
think that was
but
a
no,
Kiwi?
no, no, no,
the
no,
horses.
no. But I was gonna tie in. It's like we're gonna take all the Kiwis. Yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna appropriate it, guys. Chill,
Terrible.
chill.
I think we're done. That's it, right?
Yep, that's the episode. So to our audience, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, share this to your friends, to your family. Make sure to check out the Spotify link as well.
We're on Spotify, guys.
So that you can listen to this on audio
Twitter.
in case you're not able to watch the video. But I mean, do watch the video
Watch
as
the
well.
video. Support the channel.
Especially
Yeah, see Chance.
for this little gremlin over here. You got some good views of this little gremlin. But
Let me get this little grab. Over here.
All right.
oh, she's
all right.
getting a little
That's it.
preview.
That's it.
All right.
Anyway, see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.